There's a concentrated effort to stop it. They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because where is our opposition?
He's been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. 'Cause he's a man of the hour. They kidnapped him for building Tamare. He put his life on the line for us all. And for the truth, the lies must fade away. Fade away. It's been a long time coming. Yes, let's be strong. For the 7 seals are breaking. It won't be long to make our dreams come true. For a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. And how about you? For the master, master teacher. Freedom 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 for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Think not that we are earthborn, we come from earth, we may be, but we are life-born spirit, and without knowing we can never be free. Knowledge of this was lost when we were cast into blindness. The master teacher came and broke the chains of bondage. For the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, bring the master teacher. Bring the freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, bring the master teacher. Bring the freedom for the master, master teacher. 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 Freedom for the master.
They did everything in their power to take this land and make sure that what's happening right now does not go on. They tried every trick in the book. They ain't finished. They tried slander, defamation of character. They tried to rob brothers up, harass sisters on the street, stop every car coming down to make sure they did everything they could. And not one person come out and help us. Why? Because they had us marked as a cult. Oh, there's some crazy suicide cult. There's a concentrated effort to stop it. They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because where is our opposition?
He's been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, teacher, freedom for the master. Master teacher, freedom for the master. Master teacher, 'cause he's a man of the hour. They kidnapped him for building Tamare. He put his life on the line for us all, and for the truth the lies must fade away. Fade away. It's been a long time coming. Yes, let's be strong. For the 7 seals are breaking. It won't be long to make our dreams come true. For a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. Said, how about you? For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master. 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 Freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master. Master teacher, freedom for the master. Freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master. Freedom, master teacher. Think not that we are earthborn, we come from earth, we may be, but we are life on spirit, and without knowing we can never be free. Knowledge of this was lost when we were cast into blindness. The master teacher came and broke the chains of bondage. For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master. Freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master. Freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master. Freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master. Bring it, master teacher, bring it, freedom for the master. Master teacher, freedom for the master. Bring it, master teacher, bring it, freedom for the master. Master teacher, 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 freedom for the master.
They did everything in their power to take this land and make sure that what's happening right now does not go on. They tried every trick in the book. They didn't finish. They tried slander, defamation of character. They tried to lock brothers up, harass sisters on the street, stop every car coming down to make sure they did everything they could. And not one person come out and help us. Why? Because they had us marked as a cult. Oh, there's some crazy suicide cult.
Bring home now, bring home now. It's freedom, master teacher, freedom, master teacher. Bring home now, bring home now. It's freedom, master teacher, freedom, master teacher.
There's a concentrated effort to stop it. They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because where is our
He's
opposition?
been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master. Master teacher, freedom for the master. Master teacher, freedom for the master. Master teacher, 'cause he's a man of the hour. They kidnapped him for building Tamare. He put his life on the line for us all, and for the truth the lies must fade away. Fade away. It's been a long time Yes, let's be strong. For the 7 seals are breaking. It won't be long to make our dreams come true. For a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. Said, how about you? For the master, master teacher. Freedom 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 for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Think not that we are earthborn, we come from earth, we may be, but we are life on spirit, and without knowing we can never be free. Knowledge of this was lost when we were cast into blindness. The master teacher came and broke the chains of bondage. For the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, bring the master teacher. Bring the master for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, bring the master teacher. Bring the freedom for the master, master teacher. 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 Freedom for the master.
They did everything in their power to take this land and make sure that what's happening right now does not go on. They tried every trick in the book. They ain't finished. They tried slander, defamation of character. They tried to lock brothers up, harass sisters on the street, stop every car coming down to make sure they did everything they could. And not one person come out and help us. Why? Because they had us marked as a cult. Oh, there's some crazy suicide cult.
Bring home now, bring home now. It's freedom, master teacher, freedom, master teacher. Bring home now, bring home now. It's freedom, master teacher, freedom, master teacher.
There's a concentrated effort to stop it. They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because we
Rahubat, Moisar. Greetings, family. I trust you're all well and doing your best. Welcome to another episode of OSM, Our Souls Matter. Ask us anything. Hope you're doing good. Let's see who's on. Yeah, remember that you have to like and hit the like button and share, yeah? That helps us tremendously. Those are, do you all have jobs? Does the organization help people find jobs? Because American is not just about knowledge, it's about money also. All right, we're going to come to that. Rahubat, Rosalind, Rahubat TNT, Rahubat Marcia, Rahubat Breeze from Power, Rahubat Coco Brown. All right, I'm just waiting for a few more people to join, and remember to share. We always make the main thing the main thing. The track you're hearing or heard was Freedom for the Master Teacher, our theme song, because that is the main thing. And you can, we're going to post the links of how you can help, how you can do your part to help free the master teacher. It's your intentions, it's your meditations, it's your visualizations, it's you living Wu-Sabat, you know, it's you sharing, because everything that we do by way of spreading Wu-Sabat and making the master's plight known to the masses, it's going to be something positive for us, and we really need to be on that. We ask questions and, you know, we read books, but who's responsible for us being able to do all of that? It's all by way of Partner Babyanun, Dr. Malachi Z.K. York, the master teacher of heavens and earth. All right? Yeah, so let's just wait for a few more people to join and then we get into the questions. Remember, you can call in live. We got a call already. All right, let's go with it. Hey, Wu-Sabat, greetings.
Greetings.
Greetings, caller. What's your name, where you calling from, and what's your question, please?
It's Kerith Muir from Jamaica.
Greetings, Wu-Sabat.
And greetings. And my question is, well, okay, I want to start off by saying that one of the times I was on the internet and I heard this story about this black man that he ended up in a accident and he went into a coma. And when he woke up out of that coma, he started speaking in Hebrew. And since he's American, he doesn't know, all his life, he's never spoken Hebrew before. He didn't learn Hebrew, he didn't know Hebrew. But when he woke up out of this coma, somehow he started knowing how to speak Hebrew. So that makes me wonder, is it that somehow this man accessed memories from his past life? So maybe in a past life he spoke Hebrew? Am I right about that theory?
Okay, like, we don't have the source of the information and we don't really deal with theories, but I've also watched movies and documentaries where people have had, you know, near-death experiences and or hit their head and were able to, from that, have certain abilities. And it from what they were saying is to do with them accessing, you know, part of their brain, which again we would only be speculating without knowing the actual facts of, you know, the situation, but which we don't really do in Wu-Sabat. But it's something that I've also come across in terms of like people putting out information. But of course, there are people who become what they call savants that the master has spoken about. Trying to remember which actual fact that is in. But yeah, but I would only be speculating on that particular case because I don't know and don't have the facts about what happened or whatever. But things can happen with, you can, yeah, like have brain injury and then you're able to gain certain abilities. That's all I can give you on that at the moment.
So it is possible to access past lives' memories?
It is, yes. And you can even do that without having to go through an accident. It's called regression. When it's hypnotic, it's called hypnotic regression. If you want to research hypnotic regression, that's a way by where they put you into a hypnotic state, and then you're able to recall and give information of your past lives and things you've already experienced in your past lives. being that on average most people have had to reincarnate on average about 9,000 times. So hypnotic regression is a process where you can be hypnotized and then you relive or relay information of incidents that has been stored in your subconscious and in your memory. You see, so yeah, that is something that is known to have, occurred. So this
Okay, thank you.
this normally happens when people get abducted, for example, like when people have abductions by extraterrestrials, they get a lot of time they make them to forget, and they show you, in like the movies like Men in Black, where they flash a light and erase your memory or parts of your memory, but then under hypnotic regression, people are able to relive and recall something that happened. And even in the movie called The Fourth Kind, that was what happened, where you had the hypnotist that was actually working with people that were abducted to find out the true story of what actually happened to them, and they were able to, through that, make drawings, artist impression, say things that were basically what they went through, and it helped to put the pieces together. Because if you have, say, a town with many people that have experienced the same thing, but somehow they've been made to forget through amnesia or whatever, that if you sample and speak to a wide variety of people and put them under hypnotic regression, and they're able to all give the same accounts and descriptions, then you can kind of come to the conclusion based on the evidence of the sample that they didn't confer with each other. Some of them never even met or knew each other, and they're able to come to the same conclusion. So these are techniques that are used by hypnotists to try and collaborate whether people, making things up or telling the truth. All right?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I was trying to find something, but I'm going to keep trying whilst I go through the... Okay, I think I may have found it. Okay, right, let's have a look at questions. Okay, first question from Dosa. Do you all have jobs? Does this organization help people find jobs? Because Americans is not just about knowledge, it's about money. Yeah, a lot of the times I have to be so clear with people. When people ask questions, and when I'm saying this, I'm not directing it particularly at the person asking the question, but just in general. Like, the premise of saying something like, do you have jobs? Or the last part where it says, American is not just about knowledge, it's about money also. It's almost assuming like we're saying that it's not. When we as Sabians, Nuwapians we would never say, that America is not about, it's not just about knowledge, it's also about money. Because to think that if we are that intelligent, with having been groomed and taught by a master teacher who covers everything, that we would only be so naive to think that it's just about knowledge. So that Nuwapians are professionals in every field you can think about, right? And not just professionals, but and the word professionals is people that profess to know, but we actually put it into practice and put it into action. And we have, yes, we have jobs, we have careers, and we do help our own. This is what doing for self and kind is all about. And that's something that you will read consistently or hear consistently in our teachings, that we should do for self. We built communities and had everything self-sufficient. So in order to do that and achieve something that no one else has done in the West, not just once, but several times with several communities, living for and by each other. The last Black Wall Street, if you want to even look at that, because in recent time, no one else has been able to achieve that. So it is kind of like futile to assume that we don't recognize, that we need to help each other in every aspect. And we have the opportunity for those who want to be a part to submit their resume or CVs on our website when they join, so that we have every profession, every type of skill you can think about, we have it. All right. So yes, we do have jobs. We do help people in every way, shape or form, not just to find jobs, because we also, want to do for self and to be creative and to basically not find them, but actually create the jobs. See, it's easy for people to rely on somebody else to give them a job or a handout, which job is an acronym for just over broke, because there is a limit to you trading your time for money. And if you work for yourself and create jobs for others, that there is no limit, there's no ceiling for what you can actually earn, because you're not an employee, you're rather an employer. All right. So yes, to answer that question, we cover everything. We have another call on the line.
We've got a voice note. But
A voice note.
let them know that we're hiring, looking for editors.
Okay, we're hiring right now, looking for editors, and many other skills. So if you're looking, there you go. You have an opportunity right there.
I'm going to play a voice note here.
Okay, go ahead.
Rahubat. This is Siposetu Mbutuma,
Turn it
calling
up
from
a bit.
South Africa.
Okay,
Second,
Rahubat, we
I
have a
question,
voice
sir,
caller.
regarding death. Since we all know that here on earth, we all came here to learn somewhere, somehow. So in this school of thought here on earth, now that there's like difficulties, it's not easy, you see, to be alive. You face tribulations and lots of challenges. So I would like to know what happens to the soul of those who eliminate themselves, in a sense of committing suicide. Yeah, so what happens to their lives when they kill themselves? Thank you, sir.
Okay, there were actually quite a number of questions in that question. You said that we all come here to learn. All right. We've got to also stop assuming and doing this generalization of we all, because not everybody comes here for the same purpose. There are people who have been quarantined here. There are people who this earth is like a prison, right? For some. And like you're saying, others do come here to reincarnate, to learn and to progress and to move on. Not everybody has a soul. So when we say what happens to the souls of people that blah, 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 we have to first of all establish if they have a soul in the first place. And yes, in terms of suicide, suicide is not something, or unaliving yourself is not something we promote in Wu-Sabat at all, because we know it is one of the gravest, if you want to use the word, sin. And it just means that you come back and you have to experience repetitions of what you've caused by way of that action, not just to yourself, but to others around you. So you have to in a way have to spend more time having to experience what that meant to the, let's say, the mother, the father, the child, the grandparents, the friends, the people that you being selfish to unalive yourself. It's not, you're not thinking about others, and the escape that you think is going to be what you're doing actually means that you can come back and experience even a worse, life than the one you had previously, which you had to complete and fulfill your purpose so that you can move on. So the whole thing about unaliving yourself is something that we've already done a video on this, and it's something that we're taught that is one of the worst things one could do. And so, yes, those beings, they have to, they don't escape, because you can't actually, as we always say, destroy energy, and you can't change, what your fate in essence, because you still have to repeat. So it's not really a way out. So we have to emphasize again that that's not something that we advocate or teach in Wu-Sabat. All right. Okay, we'll go on to the next question. TNT Artistic Movement. Rahubat. Doing very well here in Botswana. Would like to know if you or the master teacher know of the man named Bashar who is teaching similar things to the master teacher. Any thoughts on that? The reality is, when you know who the master teacher is, honestly, in this day and time, it doesn't really matter who else is out there teaching whatever. And when they say similar things, what are we talking about? Because the master teacher teaches things that nobody teaches about, and later on, when it becomes popular or it goes around, then other people regurgitate that information, and it may seem to someone who's just come across that information for the first time that somebody else is teaching this. Now you would have to say, okay, who taught it first? This is one of the issues where people are actually regurgitating and teaching things that the master teacher was teaching us years ago. But the thing is, it doesn't really matter, because the purpose is for the information to get out. But what people don't do is give credit or reference the master teacher as the source of the information. And that's where we are like, respect is due where respect is due. Don't act like you're the originator, because at the end of the day, the master teacher is a visitor, right? That's the difference with a lot of teachers. He's a visitor here. And because he's not from here, he's able to bring information, or outformation to be more appropriate, to this planet that nobody else is able to do. And that's why he was so ahead of everyone, and to the point where people looked at the information as being crazy, or like, you're not all right, something's wrong with you. But as time has gone on, years have passed, time is the master, as they say. And over time, he's proven himself to be right and exact with everything he has taught. And others are jumping on the bandwagon, and they're not always giving credit to him. But we as student teachers, those that have walked beside him and walked with him for many years, we know who the source is. And not only that, in terms of knowing the predictions and what is to happen and what he's here to do and who he's here for, it doesn't really matter about other people who are doing whatever they're doing. So people always come to us and ask us questions about what other people are teaching or saying. Why don't they go and ask those people to, make themselves clear? Like, I'm not familiar with this person, and but I'm familiar with many people who try to teach the way the master does. When we say he's the master teacher, we're saying he's the master of teaching. Nobody else on the planet teaches like him, nor have they published as vast as him. People have published information, but not on every subject on the planet, on a wide variety of subjects, on everything from things that people would consider, you know, in the afterlife that he teaches about. You know, no one else has put out a book called The Spiritual You After the Physical You Dies. No one put out Genetic Kiss. No one was teaching about things that he's been teaching us about. So to answer your question, don't know who this Bashar guy is, and whether he's teaching similar things or not doesn't really change who the master is and what he's about. All right, Sampaka. Peace, love, light, reflection, and reflection. I have a question. A voice spoke unto me, and the voice said, my son, get up and read thy word. Can you help me with this? I've been having trouble understanding this. Again, that's your personal experience. We are real. Wu-Sabat is real. We don't, if we were to just like bamboozle people and say, yeah, come, let me tell you your experience. Let me tell you your dream. Let me tell you an experience that you have gone through, which is your experience. Nobody really can tell you your experience. It may mean you have to wait and other things have to happen in your life to put the pieces together. But you know, we can only go by what you tell us. So it's your word. And we're not going to dispute that you had your experience because it's your experience. But to say you've heard a voice, all right, I've got another call. We'll come back to this. Greetings, caller. Rahubat. I think we
Hello, Rahubat, Brother Stakim, how are you?
Tua Anuki Kawaz Zamal. Wu Antak. How are you? Kayefathir
I am
Antak.
good. I'm doing great, thank you. Quick question, man. So when a person is going through exorcism, and you know whoever is doing the exorcism, the pastor, priest, or whatever, how come the demonic forces within that being reacts to the saying of those religious books?
Okay. Again, it's broad, but in terms of exorcism, people can do that by themselves. They don't actually really need somebody else to do that. But
Okay.
some of these people that are doing it themselves are in tune or in contact with disagreeable beings or extraterrestrials and so forth that are the ones that are doing the work through them. And it's partly a way that they use to convince congregations and people to remain loyal, because these entities are working through these vessels that are, you know, the ministers, the preachers, the imams, the rabbis, etc., in certain cases. Because what you have to remember is that you have disembodied entities that are roaming around that possess people. And normally this is because the beings that are physical and alive, they beckon on these entities because they normally have graveyards, you know, in the surroundings of a church, or, you know, like, so there are disembodied beings that are trapped here. This is what I was saying with the previous question, that not everyone is able to leave here. Some beings are trapped and quarantined here, and they can only, you know, remain here. So they would then possess people, and these are the people that are doing the exorcism. They're able to use the help or the powers that are being utilized through them by these other entities. These entities, they can actually appear in your dreams. They can influence you. This is why people will swear, and they can take on a form. You have many types of reptilians that can shapeshift and take on the form and appear in what you would consider your dreams. And this is why someone will be so convinced that, yes, I've heard a voice. Yes, I've seen, you know, Jesus or Muhammad or whoever, and they will be so convinced because these extraterrestrials are advanced and they vibrate and they exist in different dimensions, which they're able to pull the strings from. So that's what takes place, because they have to utilize those beings. And in that scroll I mentioned, the master secret called the spiritual you after the physical you dies, will explain how these large congregations, this is what they do, because they want these legions, as is spoken of in the Bible. He said the being was asked what's your name, and he said, I'm legion, there are many of us. You know, they possess, and they keep bringing more and more people into the, you know, into those congregations. So it's not something that is as spooky as, you know, someone may think. But does that answer your question?
Yeah, it do. Another quick one. Is there a possibility that any of those beings or other dimensions that's in the works with all that possession could be following other religions?
So
Could they be possibly under the belt of Islam or Christianity or any of that? Do they have beliefs?
Sorry, your line was a bit bad. I didn't hear the first part. You said, could it be that?
Could it be possible? Is it a possibility that any of those beings on those other dimensions that are in work of possession could be in belief of a religion? Are they like
Absolutely, yes. That's what religion is about. When you're saying religion, you're saying relying on the jinns, or you're giving a legion to these beings.
Right.
And this is why every one of those religions, they have to get you to take what you call a ceremony, whether it's, you know, baptism, or taking a shahada, or you know, a bar mitzvah. There's some ceremony where you agree to be born into that world, you know, to accept them into your life, into your world, until, you know, you realize and come to the realization through Wu-Sabat. And you have to definitely renounce and then start to study and to break away from these entities, which some of them attach themselves to you, these spirit beings. And this is why many people are influenced in a negative manner. And then you have to now utilize your ancestors and reconnect with them for them to help you, because they're already also on the other side where they've crossed over, and some of them are not able to move on because they're trapped as well. And then you have others that are on a higher level or higher vibration, and they're trying to help you from there, but they can't come lower because they don't want to be trapped down here either, or lower their vibration, you see. So you have that's why I was saying that a personal exorcism that you have to do on yourself. This is why Wu-Sabat gives you all the tools. It's a DIY. You do it yourself by way of the scrolls and the information from outformation that will help you to liberate yourself and bind these beings, these personalities that are, you know, affecting your life and causing you to basically not progress, because some of them, they can only do what they need to do through your physical vessel, you see. But yeah, you're absolutely right. All right.
Yeah, I'll get you. And one other thing, I just want to thank you and all of Wu-Sabat family for all the knowledge that you've been giving me. I've been on the path of Wu-Sabat for about a year now, and everything's been going great. And I broke away from that 6 ether forces religion, you know, my group Islamic, and after I broke out of that, everything I dream of is kind of coming into play, and I clean myself up in so many ways, and I'm on the right path. I read at least 30 Patraks, and at least 15 scrolls, so I think I'm on a bad track.
Right, and that's a very good point that you've made, because a lot of times people will ask us questions like, oh, you guys, why do you keep quoting the Bible and the Quran and speaking about religions? Because we keep saying people are trapped in these religions, and our job is to get them out, to save them, to take them back from being, you know, giving their energies and their powers to these disagreeable forces that are parading themselves as, you know, God's angels, etc., etc. So it's good when people actually like yourself, like that's like a testimony, been following Wu-Sabat for a year. In fact, you can follow Wu-Sabat for a day or 1 week and read a couple of scrolls, and you will know more than anyone in religion that's been in it for 20 plus years, because they don't learn anything new. They just regurgitate and just go over the same things, the same dead books, same dead people over and over again, worshipping these dead spirits that are trapped here. So yeah, once you start, if you're serious about Wu-Sabat and you start to read the scrolls and put it into action, your life will never be the same, because like it's easy. Religion gives people a choice of the monotheistic religions, you know. You can go to you know, some religion, some denominations anyway. It's like it's easy to just go to church on a Sunday or go to the mosque on a Friday, but then you can smoke, you can drink, you can, you know, wear whatever clothes you want to wear, go wherever you want to go, do what you do. You don't really have to put in that work and that discipline to clean yourself inside out. So Wu-Sabat's like, no, we don't drink, no, we don't smoke, no, we don't curse, no, we don't do this, we don't do that. And for some people, although they want the rewards, they don't want to put in the work. And unfortunately, what you put in is what you're going to get out. And you have every tool and all the support from, you know, the family that have actually walked the walk. You're walking and you're living testament, because it works from inside out, from yourself, and you confirm it for yourself. No one has to tell you. And we don't look for members to recruit or, like, you know, collect buckets of money now. People are saying that they have cash points and, you know, card machines in churches and mosques and things like that. So you know for yourself that it's real. But yeah, I appreciate your words and your comment, your kind words, and letting us know.
For sure. And I just want to say to all the listeners that's on the same track, put everything into action, y'all. It's real. It's worked for me. Every time the universe gave me something to open the door for me, I gave something back. And I gave something back by getting rid of some type of habit or changing the different ways of mine. And I promise you, more doors will open. You know, it's like that 8 karma. You give, it'll come back in a different way. So I appreciate love and thank you.
No problem. Now, Utshakal Zuma. Wadu. Okay, go ahead. Got another voice note?
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm quite happy with your response. I understand what you just stated. The second question that I have, sir, is regarding the 144,000, which I believe maybe they might be people that are going to be saved. But I haven't heard like quite a pure interpretation regarding the matter, because you get different versions of interpretations which don't make sense, you see. Yeah. Hence, I said on the previous, I think it was episode 37, where I said that the Revelation is a book where it has to reveal things, but you'll find out most of things in the Revelation are written in riddles, parables, where you have to, where one has to use their sense of knowledge hidden. There's lots of hidden secrets in that book, so it needs a lot of interpretation. So since I the one who believes most or believe more on OSM, yeah, everything has been proven factual and with truth. So I would like an interpretation, pure interpretation there on the 144,000. Why can you dive deep on that, sir? Can you clarify some things there? Because it's too deep. It's too deep for one to bear, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Right. So in terms of the book of Revelations, as the brother is asking, years ago, this is why we always have to show respect upon the Babyanun, the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z.K. York. Because when he was breaking down the book of Revelations, word for word, from the beginning to the end, and has published books strictly on the book of Revelation. In fact, I have 3 of the books, one of the smaller scrolls where he breaks down the book of Revelation, even the ones that were in the big, kind of like near A4 size with the blue and the white writing on the book of Revelations. And back then, nobody was touching the book of Revelations because they were scared of it. They referred to it as the Apocrypha, or, you know, the book that of prophecy. But the reality is that in today, almost when he was breaking this down in the 80s and 90s, you know, how many years later on, people are regurgitating the things that he broke down. He was breaking down the mark of the beast and the, the visa and everything that, what the book of Revelation was saying about not being able to buy or sell if you don't have the mark of the beast. He put out books like Leviathan, the Luciferian Conspiracy, the Millennium Book, the year 2000 and what to expect. All of these were explaining the day and time we're living in. So over the many years, a lot of people are regurgitating what he broke down about the book of Revelations. Now, everything that people are looking in the book of Revelations to say it's a prophecy or is to come had already come, and it's just being played out or just like being executed. So it's not that deep anymore because he already explained it and broke it down. Now, when you get to the 144,000, he explained to us that different people will try to explain that and come from their perspective. And a lot of the books that people are reading in the monotheistic religions are either literal, either allegorical or symbolic, or a combination of the two or three. So when you're reading something, it doesn't necessarily always mean that it's real, as in literally. You can't take it literally because it can be symbolic. And when you look at that 144, as we teach as 9 ether beings, you look at the number 9. You add 1 plus 4 is the number 9. And it gives you 9 ether. And it's dealing with the amount of people that were on the craft, because the Nibiru craft, that's how many passengers it manned at the time. But the 9 is symbolic of 9 ether, and it's also symbolic of the characteristics of the people that are the 9 species of the Nagar-Nadu or the Negroid, right? That is speaking about a rapture for all those people that will be able to make it and be taken on a craft to receive their barythry gland and be groomed, right? To come back as teachers or be given certain special powers or receiving back their higher senses, intuition, telepathy, clairvoyance, and psychometry by way of the reinsertion of the barythry gland. Now, you have other people that also, because you remember there's always two sides, like we say agreeable, disagreeable, or Yah and Way, or cherubim and seraphim, agreeable, disagreeable. You see, so there are always a two-sided thing to the same incident or story, because the reason is the phrase, the devil will make evil fair seeming. So there will always be a distortion to confuse people. So you don't know which way to go. And if you're not walking the right path, right, as it's said in Islam, you're not on the Suratul Mustaqim, you're not working on the straight and narrow path, which is known as the way, Pataruk, the way. If you're not on the correct way, then you're going to be set astray, or you're going to be given distorted information. So you do have, right, the Anunnaki, which is separate from the Panatharu or the Natharu or the overseers. The overseers is dealing with the 9 ether, dealing with their children that they seeded on this planet. But you also have other beings, right, who seeded beings on the planet known as the Adamites. And the seeding of what they were doing is to prepare food for their journey when they leave here. And the journeys are light years, right? So these Pleiadians also are here to pick up and farm and take away food for their journey. And this is also referred to as collecting the 144,000, which took place and is continually taking place because the movie, The Fourth Kind that I mentioned, was a depiction of an actual incident that took place, and the gaps were filled with actors. It took place in Nome, Alaska, which is dark 6 month in the year. So during that time, a lot of these abductions were taking place and real incidents took place. And this is where that movie was made from, with real footage. And then the gaps are filled in by actors and actresses. So yes, there's a distortion. Depending on who's talking about the 144,000, you're going to get the actual fact, the real true story of what's happening from beings that have come back from the future, our future, to help and guide us and tell us. Now, they can't really interfere with humanity's development or progression. What they have done is sent guides throughout time to prepare you for this time that we're in the new sun cycle, where we are becoming more aware of our consciousness. And this is called the dimensional shift. It's called the Aquarian age. It's called the sun cycle. It's called the golden cycle. It's called many things because this is something that was predicted to come, which is after the 24,000 years, or the new renewal, or the new cycle of 24,000 years. And this is what the master teacher has been teaching and preparing us for. And this came in fully in the year 2000 AD. So whether people accept or like it or not, natural nature is evolving and changing, and that is bringing different energies to the planet. Those who are ready have been preparing, have been living what most would call a righteous life, or living right, are gonna be raising their vibration and their consciousness, so this new energy will trigger and spark them off, and they get activated, and then they start to live. And all of this stuff is like, wow, I need to know the truth. I've been under a veil, I've been bamboozled, I've been given wrong information or misinformation to the point where I don't know who I am, I don't know where I came from, I don't know where I'm going, I don't know what to eat, I don't know anything apart from what I've been programmed with. And now those who are waking up are reprogramming their DNA by the things you do. So yes, the 144,000 is those pure souls, those that are real, those that want to put in the work. I said before that some people, they're just like a dip me in water religion, and you're born again and someone else is going to come and save you and save, someone saving your sins, and now you're going to heaven, which is some fictitious story that you have no way of proving until you start to delve in and go, okay, let's actually dissect this, let's break this down. Who's coming, why they're coming, where they're coming from, and what are they going to do when they get here? What are they going to look like? Where they're going to take me? And when you go into these stories, you break them to pieces and you just realize it's a fairy tale. The reality or the real story is you have to wake up from the slumber, from the sleep. We call the spell of Leviathan, the sixth ether spell, that has you believing in all types of fairy tales without facts, without proof. And when you wake up, it's just so obvious. Just so obvious. You're like, wow, I didn't see that before. Yeah, because you were asleep. You see? Like, you believe that there are entities or beings called gods, Allah, Yahweh, this, that, and they are in the place you call heaven. And then someone comes along and goes, no, you're talking about extraterrestrials. Now, that's like, whoo, what do you mean extraterrestrials? Little green men, aliens? Then you break it down. What is an extraterrestrial? Where are these beings if they're not on Earth? Heaven? Okay, let's go to the Bible and research where it says and talks about heaven. You get names of places. Oranos in Greek, which is Orion. Pleiades, Arcturus. You see, you can find all these quotes. Job 9:9, Amos 5:8. Go to Revelation 21, read the books of Daniel, read the books of Ezekiel. It's all about extraterrestrial beings that have been coming and going for thousands of years. The most predominant story that most people are familiar with is the Anunnaki story, which is dealing with a being called Anu and his family. His two sons, Enlil and Enki. They're called different names in different cultures. Nunamnir, yeah, or Nudimud, right? This is just another name for Enki and Enlil. Yahweh, Baal. You know, these are names that you read in the Bible, but they're talking about Enlil and Enki. And then their family, Erishkigal, Nagal. You know, they were carrying out experiments and doing certain things, creating a Lulu Amilu in the language, which means primitive worker to do the work. They put their DNA and genetics into creating these beings to do the work. You have other types of extraterrestrials that have come from different places later on. Now, mind you, this was before, this was after the original beings to come to this planet and see this planet, the Natharu, which most people don't know about. We as Sabians and the Nuwapians are the first one that started to talk about the Natharu. Everybody else is talking about Anunnaki. And the master teacher taught us about the Anunnaki stories way before anybody else was. And he was the one that pointed out, go and read Zachariah Sitchin's books, Genesis Revisited, you know, there were so many books, but he was only doing that to say, look, because you lot think I'm crazy, everything I come and I teach about that you're not familiar with, because you've been bamboozled and under the spell, you think I'm crazy. When he was speaking about Shambhala and Agartha, the cities within the earth, speaking about 3-parent births, talking about risk, a tri-solar system, talking about so many things that at that time nobody was speaking about. But he still gave us references so that we can go and check it out. Because most people, they don't want to accept who he is. Reality, they don't want to accept who he is because of the color of his skin. Because if he was teaching what he's been teaching, the high sciences that we break down, dealing with 9 ether and so forth, and he was, you know, of a different race, he would be received. And this is the reality. So what we're basically saying is there's the right knowledge, the right wisdom, and the right overstanding by the most prolific writer, the reincarnation of Tahuti, who they call in you know, Greek Thoth. He's here and he's been teaching, proved it by the works. And you either listen to him or you don't. Either way, this is happening. This transformation is happening. People are feeling it from inside out, and it's working once you put it to work. If you don't think it works, it's not going to work for you. You know, it's down to you. Read, study, apply, and you will see for yourself. It's transformation time, man. It's alignment time. You've got to align yourself to make it. All right, so let's move on to the next question. Yeah, I covered that. I was on Sam Packer's question. Peace, love, light, and reflection. I have a question. Oh yeah, about the voice. I already covered that. But yeah, it's your experience. You can hear voices in your head because you do have a radio. It's a transmission, and you can receive and you can send. And you can hear voices that are projected to you by these beings. Another movie that comes to mind that we were, you know, encouraged to watch is called, I just had it before I said it. It's called The Presence, right? Watch the movie called The Presence. And it explains to you how these entities whisper in your ear. They're right there, just in a different dimension or realm that you can't manifest or see unless you're highly spiritual and you can, you know, see interdimensionally. Some people can. They open up, you know, their third eye and they're able to see things, but you need control over it. People want to be able to do certain things, like open their third eye and do certain things. But if you don't know what comes with that, like you open it, but you don't know how to shut it down, and then you can't deal with what you see every day. At that point, you're regretting it, you see? So you need to know how to control and deal with these powers. It's not just having the power. It's like, can you use it? Do you know how to turn it off? People may want to have telepathy, the ability to communicate from mind to mind, all right? Now you're able to do that. You're hearing a million voices of different people every day. What are you going to do? Going to drive you nuts because you can't control it. So you have to be taught by one who knows, a spiritual master, that, okay, you have this power. Some people are just empaths and they can't deal with the energy of the vibrations of what they pick up from people around them. Because to be honest, a lot of people are very negative in the way they think and the things they do and the energy field that they have, known as their aura. So when you're around them now, you you're in pain because you can't cope with it. So yes, having these powers such as telepathy, intuition, psychometry, and clairvoyance are great, but you have to be taught and you have to know how to control it. Some people can say, okay, for example, you want to levitate. Cool. You learn to levitate. Supposing you just start levitating all the way into the sky and you can't come down. Then what are you going to do then? You see, so you have to remember there's positive and negative or advantages and disadvantages to things. But it's about being able to control it, and you have to be taught how to do this. You see, so be careful of what you want and what you wish for. Some people want to see aliens, then they get abducted, and then they don't know how to deal with the beings that are abducting them. So you have to know what type of aliens are agreeable, which ones are disagreeable, which ones are for you, which ones are going to trick you, make you think it's a positive thing, and then you end up on the breakfast plate. You see, so that's where Wu-Sabat covers the full circumference. So we keeping it real. You got to do some work. This is not you get dipped in water and you're born again and your sins are forgiven. No, you have to work. All right. So yeah, we're not here to spoon feed people, because you do have to do some work. No one else is coming to save you like that. You've been waiting to, like the people quote the Bible, Jesus is coming. You go and read it, it says he'll be coming back soon. And then you ask the question, how long is soon? How long is soon? Because if I said to you, all right, I'll be back soon, right? And you were waiting for me, okay, you might wait an hour. You're checking your clock, your watch. He said he'll be back soon. All right, 2 days go by. Are you going to still be waiting? You ain't going to be waiting if you're being honest. Like, that's not soon. That's 2 days. All right, what if I was gone for a week? You didn't hear from me, didn't see from me. A month. A year. 2 years. 5 years. 10 years. People have been waiting for Jesus to come back soon in 2,000 years. That ain't no soon. Wake up. He ain't coming. In fact, how do we know he ain't coming? Because if you do the maths and say, where is he going? It tells you, in my Father's house there are many mansions, and you go and research and break that down. You're talking about going to these constellations. Yeah? Orion, for example. Then you say, how long does it take to travel to Orion? What speed would you have to travel at? Because you're dealing with light years. And you multiply, what is a light year? A light year is the time or the distance it takes for light to travel in a particular vacuum. So if you do the maths, he's still on his way. It will take more than 2,000 years. But people are saying he's coming and he hasn't even arrived. You see, so we keep it real in Wu-Sabat. Right, let's keep going. Yep, go on then.
Rahubat Muisa, Rahubat Sekin,
Rahubat.
Anoki Terry Jamal, Tehuti Akenroye from.
Okay, let's take that. But I like the way, Terry, you're using the language, man. I'm impressed. Good. Go ahead, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what's your question, please?
Basically, Sekin, I've got two questions. I've just started working at a gym as a personal trainer. And I forgot to say my name. It's Sheldon. I'm from London.
Tua.
Tua. Yeah, I just started working in this gym as a personal trainer. I've come to realize that there's always music playing, this electronic music. And I'm wondering, I'm not listening to certain music in my headphones anymore, but I'm at work surrounded by that sort of music all day. And also during spin classes that I like to take part in and some of the group classes that I like to run, I like to do a group class of rock music because I feel it really motivates me to motivate the members to do better. And also the music in the spin classes, it does motivate me to pedal the bike harder. But at the same time, I know I'm not supposed to be ingesting these tones and frequencies. So am I supposed to get a new job? I'm not quite sure. It's not in my headphones and I'm not actively listening to it. But
no, I hear you. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I got you. So with Wu-Sabat, this is what we're trying to say to people. We're normal. Like we have to be able to be in a situation. So I'm echoing back on your phone, Sheldon. Like if you find yourself in a situation that you have no control over, yes, you could change your job if you wanted to. But if you can't and you're in that position, then you have to look at what we call psychic defense, self psychic defense. And a lot of the times it's not always what we don't walk around like we're gonna dig a hole and put our head in it to be away from everything, because the reality is we're still living amongst and in environments that we're subjected to a lot of things that we wouldn't want. This is the whole point of why we would want to have our own environment and create the environment the way we would like it to be, because you can't be in somebody else's house and telling them how to run their house. So what you have to be able to do is, it's not what you take in, it's also how you get it out. So when you go home, or you have to then deprogram, or like do other things to balance it out, where you then go and do some meditating, listening to positive music, do things to counteract what you've done. It's just like, and again, I'm not saying this for people to be like, okay, I'm gonna intentionally do something. If you're in a situation where there's not much you can do about it until you find a way to do something about it, then you have to do your best in the circumstances that you are. So if you eat something crap that you're not supposed to eat, what are you going to say? Oh my goodness, I've eaten something crap. This is not religion where we're like, oh, now you're going to hell, you're punished forever. Wu-Sabat is about, you can fix it. Like, okay, what can I do? All right, let me start to cleanse. Let me take it out of my system, because, okay, I made a mistake. We're not perfect, but we have a balance. If you're going to be like just doing that all day, 24 hours a day and not doing the opposite to kind of like deprogram yourself, then you're really putting yourself in a situation where, like you want to, you want to experience the pure negative. Like, so it's about balance as well, and working your way to be able to get into a situation where you can actually completely elevate yourself or alleviate yourself from the problem. You see, Wu-Sabat is real. We're not like religion where it's like, you're haram, you've eaten, I ate some pork. What if you didn't know? You're doomed forever? No, you go clean yourself out, get it outside of you. You slept with someone, you exchanged bodily fluids, you didn't know, now you read Wu-Sabat, you know about what you're taking in. Then you cleanse. We've got rituals and things that you do. So yeah, I hope that's answered your question.
Kind of. Well, I was just wondering another one, like, so you're saying because I do enjoy giving these classes, and I do enjoy taking part in spin classes, and the music is, I feel, helping me, but you're saying if I spend all day in the gym, which I'm planning to do to secure more clients, I'm always hearing that music. But if I balance it out with meditation, the chanting, the purposely linking up with the Wu-Sabat family and connecting spiritually and mentally and etherically, then that should balance me out.
Yeah, I'm saying, like I said, if you find yourself in a situation where until you can resolve that, so obviously the best thing would be not to be in that environment, right?
But Ken, the thing is, I kind of want to be there because I'm really
then let me finish.
I feel like I'm helping.
If you want to be there, then
yeah, I feel like I'm genuinely making a difference.
Let me finish.
Where I'm supposed to be.
Pardon?
Right. Sorry.
Let me finish. I'm saying you're not letting me finish. I'm saying you want to be there, but if you could choose your music that you could use that was positive and conducive, that wasn't having a negative effect on you, would you not choose that instead?
I'm not 100% sure, because I'm not sure how clients will respond to it.
All right, then let's address that.
I'll have to think about it.
All right, cool. Then you have to look at what tones, vibrations, and frequency are doing to your body and doing to you, because you have 9 magnetic particles. This is what happens with people who don't know the sciences of certain things, and they will wear headphones all day, blasting music and frying their brain. because you're dealing with frequencies that are going to damage your brain. Or if you go to a dance or a party and you stand by the speaker and you're blasting these tones, they're going to change the molecules in your body. It's going to affect you in a certain way, and people start to have all kinds of issues like ringing in their head. All right, and some people think that's a positive thing, because there are some people who get ringing in their ear, which is a positive thing, but then you can get headaches, you can get all types of things when you're listening to the wrong tones that are damaging and are changing your DNA and your vibration. So if you want to put yourself in an environment that, like you said, playing rock music all the time, every race and every people have tones that are their tones that will help them, and then you have destructive tones which are not for you. So if you want to damage yourself, then you have to live with the consequences that come with being in that situation. What I was saying is that if you find yourself in a situation that you don't want to be in, and you have to think of a solution or a way that you can combat it, or, you know what I mean, like help you in the meantime whilst you work out a way to come out of that environment, then it's up to you to take it. If you don't, then you suffer the consequences. Wu-Sabat is not here to tell you do this or don't do that. We tell you the information, the actual facts of what's best, and you choose whether you do it or not.
With that being said, I think you just answered my second question.
Okay.
I picked up the phone really quickly because I just had the urge to smoke. I was about to call someone, tell them, come here, bring me something. And then I thought, no, I'm being attacked. Let me call Ken quickly. But like you just said, you're not here to tell me no. You're just here to let me know the consequences of my actions. Sure,
because you have ancestors, which we teach about, that want to use you, and they pull the strings, and then you feed them, and you're thinking you're feeding yourself. Like people will say, I'm going to have a cigarette. And I say, no, the cigarette is having you, because who's going to benefit from what you're doing? Because you might say, oh, it relaxes me, calms my nerves. Okay, you do that continuously, then your nerves get used to it, or coffee or whatever stimulants you're taking. When your body becomes reliant on it, then you can't do without it. Then it becomes an addiction. And this is how people get stuck on, they can't stop smoking, they can't stop taking stimulants, or, you know what I mean, drinking coffees. Some people need it because by design, they can't produce or have, do you know what I mean, the natural equivalents that will help them. So, yeah, but it's a choice. The choice is down to, it's down to you.
Yeah, also, but that ancestor that wants me to smoke, I've got a name for him. I think I've called him Nitbag. That's his name. And anytime Nitbag wants to smoke, I just have to say, "Shut up, Nitbag."
Yeah, and that's how easy it is. Like, you can say yes or you can say no, right? And when you say no consistently, after a while, that voice subsides, and you don't get the urge, or you're not feeding, as we call, there's an actual fact we've got called feeding the forces. Those forces, they come through you. They come through you, and sometimes it's so convincing, like you hear the voices, go on, it's only one. Right? Yeah. You can get people that stop smoking for 2 years, and then they're unaware of the voice, and it's just like, go on, it's only one. It's only one, you can get over one. Then that one is the one that takes them right back into the cycle. And I hear people say, you know what, I gave up for 2 years, boy, and I still went back into it, because you haven't overcome it. That's why when we say right knowledge, right wisdom, and right overstanding, the right knowledge is, okay, you're doing the right thing, this is the right information. The wisdom is you choosing, right? You choose right or wrong based on wisdom. Like, okay, that's not good for you, so you're not going to do it. But the overstanding, you hear the word over. When you're over something, you're completely over it. No matter how you're tempted, no matter what situation you're put in, you just don't have the urge or the need for it anymore. So you're over it. You hear, that's what we say, you're over it. You're over it. It's not over you, where you're under it and you're dealing with understanding. When you're over something, you're overstanding. You're standing above it, it doesn't have control over you. That's what I'm saying. Like, if the cigarette can convince you, you see people outside. Again, this is not an attack on anyone that's a smoker, because at the end of the day, that's your choice. But we know that's a stimulant. We know that it's not good for you. But you see people, it's so cold and they're outside going like, really trying to pull hard at this cigarette, and it's like, it becomes an addiction, you know? So yeah, we know what's right, we know what's wrong. You got to choose wisely and do what you think is best for you. But then remember, every action has an equal opposite reaction. All right?
Yeah.
All right. I appreciate, love your call. Until the next time.
Okay.
Take it. Tua. Wadu. Okay, so oh yeah. Let's go back to Terry. You might have to rewind.
Rahubat Muisa, Rahubat Sekin,
Rahubat Jamal.
Anuki Terry Jamal, Tehuti Akenroye from Zambia. So I have a question regarding vibration, because I was looking at it. Most of the classes I've attended, there's always an emphasis that we need to raise our vibration. We need to raise ourselves.
Is it a phone call? Yeah. All right. We've been interrupted by another phone call. Greetings, caller. Rahubat. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what's your question, please?
Okay, well, back. My name is Stephen. I've phoned up before. And I did. So basically, it's to do with the mycelium network. Yeah. And from my understanding, that it's Mother Nature. So the mycelium eats rock and then it poos out soil. Do you agree with that?
I'm waiting for the question.
Okay, yeah. So the question is basically, like, I hear about the master teacher. I've been watching your programs for quite some time, but he never discussed the importance of the mycelium network and us as human beings and just species in this cosmos. And like, from my understanding, the mycelium network is in most movies. Yeah, it speaks on it metaphorically, and it's like one of the biggest things. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's kind of like my question. Like, how come the mycelium network is not explored? Because if the master teacher deals with 720 degrees worth of knowledge, how is the mycelium mushrooms not in this knowledge? Do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Tua, may I answer now?
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
You're saying he's never spoken about it, but that's not actually true. Yes, cool. Because if you read the scrolls called physical ethers, right? Or natural ether energy, right? These are master secrets, or actual fact, I can't remember. But yeah, we you know, when I do the lives, I don't really want to go into the books because we've got so many questions I want to get through. But physical ethers, natural ether energy speaks about it. And just because you're not seeing the specific word, mycelium, like you're talking about, doesn't mean it's not addressed. Because when you're dealing with natural ether energy or 9-ether is the combination of all existing gases which are conscious, right? When you say something is conscious, it means it's aware, it knows what it's doing, it has intelligence. Conscious and conscience, which is when you put it all together. So it is addressed by way of natural ether energy and the physical ethers. All right. So now, just because you feel or accept, like, okay, because when you're dealing with a chain reaction or the life cycle of things, everything, right, in nature is like a cycle. So as you're saying, you may eat, and then, or if we look at the animal kingdom, you have, you know, let's say the air we breathe, the sunlight, which comes from the trees, which are giving off you know, the oxygen or natural nature, then the feces can become manure, and then everything that is alive actually goes back to the ground, and then it becomes dust, and it's a cycle. Everything is a cycle, and everything actually has a correlation or a relationship to everything else. This is what we call the cycle of life. However, there are disagreeable things that will have a disagreeable or a negative effect on you, and there are things that will give you a positive effect. Some people just want to do what they want to do. They want to smoke, they want to smoke weed, they want to drink alcohol, they want to take mushrooms, psychedelics. What all of that is to try and induce what you already have naturally and what you can do naturally. You may not know how to do it naturally, or you may feel like you can't do it naturally, but you can. So you would also maybe argue that it is natural, because people will say, yeah man, weed is herb, it's a natural thing. Yeah, but in what state and in what form do you consume it where it's still maintaining its natural state? That's a difference from actually adding chemicals to it, because when you add different things to something, you're changing. It's not just pure anymore, right? So you're gonna say, okay, herb is natural, but then you put it in a Rizzler paper, you put tobacco in it, and then you strike fire and a light to it, then you take smoke into your lungs, and you're convincing yourself that you're holding the meds, and meds meaning meditation, when really you need medication, because now you're actually affecting the higher being, which is you, in terms of dealing with, like we say, where you're now getting intoxicants that are going to affect your brain and affect your cerebellum and affect that part of you which is for connection with a higher consciousness, which actually becomes like a drug. And even going back to the gym thing, people are in the gym and they get so into the not just the adrenaline, but yeah, the adrenaline itself becomes a drug. Some people are addicted to going to the gym. Like, they have to go to the gym because the testosterone and like, they basically start to create too much, because now it's imbalanced and they now need that rush. They have to constantly do it over and over again. So I'm basically saying, going back to your question, brother, if the master teacher tells us, as a being, like you said, a 720-degree being who has mastered the physical and the spiritual, and he's here to guide us and show us what's the best way to achieve being a supreme being, we listen. Those of us who want to listen. Those who don't want to listen, don't listen. Do what you want to do. But some people want to try and say, oh, because I do it, or because this person says we should do it, then we're going to do it. But we follow the Lamb. We follow the Lamb wherever he goes. We know who the man of the hour is, and we're not trying to force him on anyone. You either know or you don't know. You do or you don't do. Like, we don't have to really break down and explain ourselves to others, because Wu-Sabat is in a class of its own. Wu-Sabat is a culture that those who want to listen will listen and do what they need to do. Those who don't want to do, don't. But don't make excuses or try and convince other people to do what you do, because that's your choice. Those choices are down to us. We have a book. We have a patarak called The Decision, right? There's no subject you can really come up with that the master hasn't broken down or spoke about. Maybe not in the specific language or the way you would like it addressed, but that's what makes him who he is, why he's able to give information that's unique. And Wu-Sabat is here for everyone, for those who want to listen. But let's go back to the Terry's question. Was it Terry? Yeah.
Rahobat Muisa, Rahobat Sekin, Anoki Terry Jamal, Tehuti Akenroye from Zambia. So I have a question regarding vibration, because I was looking at it. Most of the classes I've attended, there's always an emphasis that we need to raise our vibration. We need to raise ourselves. So my question is there a standard measurement or a cutoff point which we need to raise ourselves to? In short, how do we measure that we've raised our vibrations? Is there a standard way to measure? Or is there a way of knowing that we've raised our vibrations to a certain degree? Tautak.
Okay. Right. So when you're dealing with vibration, it fluctuates, right? Because if you look at a vibration or a waveform, it fluctuates, goes up and down, right? This is why the way to know is the results that you're getting. And the measurement is 9 ether. In our book, Fast Track Your Spiritual and Conscious Journey, if you look on page 137, for those who are doing the online course, look at the section that has Appendix 6, 9 levels in this universe. That's on page 137 for those who have the physical book. This diagram is so important because it shows you your being on the right hand side with the 7 chakras that most people are familiar with, plus the 2 above your head. And if you look at on the left hand side, you have a scale from 0 to 9 in the yellow, and then it goes down the bottom to the right, where from the 0 you go to the right and you have hydrogen, helium, right? And then you continue with, lithium, beryllium, etc., the elements, which obviously the noble gases. Look at the periodic table. But the point, if you study this diagram properly, it's going to answer that question that you're asking about how do you measure. So the lower, going from 0, 1, 2, 3, you're going up. That's slow vibrations, right? Meaning that as you come down from 9 ether, you're slowing the vibration. As you go up to 9 ether, and 9 ether, remember I already explained, is the combination of all gases, conscious, conscience, right? So there's different levels of 9. So it's like 9 to the 9th power of 9. So there's always, you get to 9, then it starts again. So it's a cycle, but it's cycling as it's going up in vibration. So then that will give you ether. So you're coming from ether 9, ether 8, ether 6, ether 5, ether 4, ether 3, ether 1, to then you come onto this side where you go into the hydrogen, helium, coming down to the physical. Now, the higher your vibration, the higher senses because you can see the columns. You've got the ether column, you've got the beings, right? So the beings that are vibrating at the highest are supreme beings. And you are a supreme being that has fallen down. So when we go from the top down, when you're dealing with your senses, as I've mentioned, those higher senses, the 4, because you only really have 1 when you're in the lower vibrations, when you're looking at from like 6 ether downwards, right? Where we say we have 5 senses, but it's really hear, see, smell, taste, touch. All of those are really touch or perception or awareness, the way you know you exist. Like, for example, you can pinch yourself and feel it and know that you exist. But as you go up, then you go into the ability to get back your higher senses, such as psychometry, intuition, telepathy, clairvoyance. So supreme beings, then you come down now in terms of beings. This is where a lot of people use words and they're not aware that the words you're using, right? Because you might say, I'm a man, for example. Now let me go from the top. You come from supreme being to being a human being, to being a human, to being a man. And then underneath that you have mankind, a kind of a man. That's what you're saying when you say mankind. Down to being like a mammal. Then you can go down even lower to being a beast, to being a demon. So when people say, oh, we're just human, what you're really saying is a level of a being that is a composition of the creative force of will, which is who, and then becoming man. So you go who, man. If you're not familiar with who, that's in ancient Egypt, right? That's the creative force of will, because will is what determines your decision making, and will is undecided until you make it vague, which means that it's now like it's not clear, or you make it vivid, meaning you know exactly what you want and what you're saying. So you can come down from that etheric realm, and as you're coming down, when you get to mankind, or when you're a man, what connects you to these higher realms is the mental. Okay, you can hear the word the mental, where it deals with the mind, the creativity, six ether, right? Because you're limited to six or six ether beings are only limited to six, and that was due to their mixing with animals. This is in the DNA, because the Human Genome Project has made it possible for each, gene, the genes that you're made up of, and the cells, you have over like 24 trillion cells, right? To be able to decipher and break down. I did another one-to-one with Neville that's coming out. You guys look forward to that. But we were explaining how to break you down into be able to study every single cell, or be able to study your components in terms of your DNA, because you have your the double helix, and then you have the codes, ACGT, that you can put together, and the different combinations. But what I'm basically saying is that they've studied the DNA of everyone on the planet and found that Adamites are mixed with porcines, and the simians, and porcine, simians, and what's the other one? Anyone that's been studying and paying attention. Canine, simians, and I've said three?
You didn't say canine before.
Okay, canine. All right, so that's the three. And that's why they can't go further. And the beings that are supreme beings, some of them, this is the beings like we give you some, like the Riskians, or Mutzdarku, right? The Riskians, or those of who are Riskians. They are supreme beings at the highest level of nine ether. And they can come down and meet you, or your ancestors who have crossed over are now on the side of ether, where they can still communicate with you, but they can't come back down because they risk being trapped here or coming down here. So to answer your question, the lowest is dealing with the physical, the material. This is where you deal with time, matter, temperature, your skin suit. You need the skin suit for locomotion to move around. But as you go further, you start to deal with spirituality. You start to deal with your vital being, your spirit being. This is where we talk about your personality, right? The food you eat, because the food gives you nutrition, where nutrition is in what we call force. What is it called? The plane of force, right? And then air, water, all of these have variations in terms of their density. And then you move up, then you start to deal with the soul. Now the soul is where it's connecting you to these higher vibrations. And this is where they deal with your astral body, where you can astral project, yeah? And you have a connection to your oversoul. These are like we call them your parents, or your etheric parents, yeah? This deals with all that. This is where you're starting to deal with your aura, the emotional you, dealing with what people call heaven, but it's really haven, which is really etheric atoms. Because as I said, when you're dealing with ether, physical ethers, or as I said, natural ether energy, you're starting to deal with states of vibrations that are higher than the ones that are below. Then you have the mind, which is the fourth, or the mental, where you connect to the beings that are higher, because they're sending you messages, or outformation when you receive it in your radio, because we have your mind is like your radio, where you transmit and you receive frequencies, and the frequencies can come by the sun rays, because the sun is what keeps you alive. In fact, as beings on this planet, without the sun we won't even be able to survive, apart from those beings that are deep in the deep sea. Because when the sun rays were blocked, where that biblical story of Genesis comes from, there were beings in the waters, but there were, there are types of beings that live in the waters that can survive without the sun rays. But I hope that's helped you in terms of your vibrations. That book goes into it, Fast Track Your Spiritual Unconscious Journey. If you haven't got that already, get your copy. All right. So yeah, that's dealing with vibrations. And when you look at sound and tones, that's going back to even Sheldon's question, where you listen to certain tones, they're going to be damaging to your being, because you have to remember that you're composed of different parts, and it might not affect you physically, but it can affect your soul or your spiritual being or your mental being. Next minute you have mental issues and you don't know why, but you've been listening to these frequencies that are damaging your mind. All right. New voice note. Gosh. Okay, let's go for it. Botswana in the house.
Rahubat second. I'd like to ask, how does one find their purpose? If there's a guideline, please may you kindly let us know. Thank you.
Tua. You have an individual purpose and you have a collective purpose. Wu-Sabat will help you find your purpose, because up until you come across Wu-Sabat, this is kind of how people have been trapped by the programming. Because most people think, or have been reduced to thinking, their purpose is literally to go to work and deal with the basic carnal desires, which is buy food, material things, buy food, eat, go to sleep, get the clothes you want to wear, get a car, maybe a house, material things, and that's it. That's your purpose. You do this over and over and over again until maybe go on a few holidays, and then that's it. At maybe 60, 70 years old, not realizing that you have a higher purpose. Your real being is here to grow and to learn, to master the physical plane. I just gave you those realms, right? We use the word plane and realm synonymously, but actually you have realms, and then the different variations is what we call in the planes, okay? So sometimes we might just say the material plane, but the material plane would also be within that, what we call in the physical realm. So you're here to master these realms, to move on to the next realm, and the next, and the next, as you work your way up to the 9 levels, or ether 9, or 9 ether, which then continues on for you to return back to what we call Pa'ot, or the all expanding, all right, or all. Now, that's the purpose for your soul, if you have a soul. And if you don't have a soul, you're still energy, but just on a lower ether or lower vibration. And you can still go from lower ethers, 1 ether to 6 ether. Okay, my referee's flagging me.
I missed it.
Oh, you is it coming back?
I answered, but it's ringing them now.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, hell is low. We like to stay on high vibration. We say Rahubat. How you doing? What's your name? Where you calling from? And what's your question, please?
My name is Demetrius Jones. I am calling from the United States of Swindle, America.
The ununited states, because they ain't united. But anyway, I hear you. Go ahead, Zamal.
Right. Obviously, we're not united, but that's a whole other conversation for another day.
Tua.
But yes, again, this is Demetrius Jones. We had the pleasure of speaking on the New Year on on Baba's birthday on June 26th.
Tua. Yeah. I remember that.
My
I remember
question
your
was
tone.
in reference to when we're talking about the telomeres, right?
You're breaking up. I'm losing you. You still there?
Can you hear me again?
Yeah, now loud and clear.
Okay. So when we're talking about the programs being telomere, right?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of their time period, does the programming of the telomeres connect us to our ancestors?
Tua, but again, when we say we and the they, we have to be very clear on who we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah. So when we were referring to the telomeres in terms of the Adamites, that is what we're saying with that. It was programmed for them to fade away after 6,000 years. So that is from the year 2000, and that's
Okay,
why.
understood.
Yeah.
So, in terms of us being related to our ancestors, so we don't have programmed telomeres. That's for them.
No, we do. We have telomeres, and depending on this is where the whole scale of what you do, because you can reprogram yourself, right? So when you know about computer programming or programming, it's like there is hard code that you can't change within the code, and there is code that is dynamic or can change, right, based on the circumstances. So when we're saying about the Adamites, that's hard coded, where it was like, okay, after 6,000 years, you're gonna start to fade away. Whereas with our telomeres, depending on what you do, this goes into like the decisions you make, the environment you're in, the diet that that you're on.
Right. In terms of when Baba is talking about turning ourselves inside out.
Absolutely right. So you can extend your life or you can shorten your life based on the things you do. This includes your intentions as well, because sometimes people just think about, okay, I'm doing something, and the intention behind it is also weighted. So it's like some people can pretend or look good or be acting and doing things, but the heart, and the actual intentions are not really there for what you might look at physically. So all of these things are recorded on your me disc, and this is how you're able to you see some people like they just never have any issues, or they look young all the time because they have good intentions, they have good heart, they're dealing with divine love. And then you have other people who they may be eating the best diets and exercising and doing all kinds of stuff, but they have bad intentions, or they have no ashuk. And the master teaches us in the Patarak, the three loves, that you're not fooling anyone, because your matrix records everything you do, including your thoughts and your intentions. So if you don't have true ashuk, then it's futile. Like, you can give all your money, you can chant as much as you like, you can do so much, but it will still be as if you haven't really done anything, because ashuk is again connected to your heart seat, which is a part of the matrix that records everything that you do, you see. So yeah, you can extend your life by the things you do. And tying into the purpose question, your purpose is to help, and to help humanity. The best way to help humanity is by way of Wu-Sabat, because that's the solution. Yeah, I hope that helps.
Yeah, and I had another question, Sakin, to
Go
follow
ahead.
up from that. So, in terms of our DNA being programmed, you follow me, and in terms of the personalities that we are directly connected to, whether we like it or acknowledge it or not, that's standard across the board, depending on which one of your parents, grandparents, great grandparents, or great great grandparents are still alive with us, correct?
They are, but what that's what I'm saying, that religion and the distortion of you being able to have access to truth limits you or blocks you without you even knowing. And this is why that when people are like trapped by way of religion, they're not realizing that they're not getting the fullness of it. So even though you have the
Exactly. You're getting
potential,
more of a watered down version because we
exactly,
have to calculate the fact that we're calling on these tones that these other beings vibrate on, which can
that's right.
interfere.
That's right. It's like interference, absolutely. So you have to clear all of that, and then it's like you're tuning to the right station to receive a clear signal. And you do that by way of like you connecting with them in terms of the rituals and like having your altar and doing certain, rituals, and really like they're waiting for you, literally, but
Right.
you have to
So they're
clear.
literally waiting on us to continue to tap in at a deeper depth to where we can access them, just like I could dial
That's right.
+44 and connect to you over in England.
Exactly. Exactly. You might dial and miss one number out and get someone else completely. And
Right, right,
then
right. I mean, well, we had that conversation where I told you what happened to me at,
tour.
18 years old during that Chicago City Championship football game. And, I got it on tape. Like I was there. I witnessed it. It's like I didn't call on Jesus. I called on my grandma.
That's right.
And it was like, it was literally immediate.
Yeah.
And I got one more question, so Cam, before I let you go, because I know you.
That's okay.
I
Go
love
ahead,
have
bro.
y'all answering these questions and continuing to drop the knowledge bombs continuously.
We'd love to do that too. That's why we're asking for your support to get our studio that we're working on, and that's what we'll be doing 24/7, 365, dropping knowledge bombs all day long. Yeah, but go
Right.
ahead.
So I seen something in the group as a update from Baba from April in terms of him giving us the language and it's up to us. So that's really, obviously there's other steps that have to be made, but that's really the ultimate thing. Like he's given us the tools. And it's up to us through what we're doing, through everything, everybody that's commenting, that's messages, that's asking questions. It's like we need to get to the language of Miss Batia.
Absolutely, 100%. And that's because you're dealing with tones, vibrations, and frequencies that are going to resonate and connect us to each other, to heal each other, and to basically be able to be as one body. Because every leader, whether they were teaching a watered down doctrine or not, the one thing that they've all had in common unanimously was that, there's power in our numbers and there is power in unity. And the master teacher has said the one thing that will free him is love and unity. And we take this for granted because we think it's just about asking questions and reading books, and to the point where we just become book junkies and all we're doing is just waiting for the next fix or the next update, whilst the real purpose, I'm going to go back to that question, is to free him. And by us uniting and just moving as one, it's a done deal. Meaning, like we say, it's not just about the talking and the reading, it's about the actions and the
It's about applying what it is that we're studying and
exactly.
incorporating into our lives.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of us, we all got some continued work to do, but that's kind of what that religion set in, because like you was just explaining on the live, like people still sitting and waiting around, like no,
yeah,
this ain't no wait around type thing.
Let's just do it, and it's so easy, like, but the egos and the programming and the malfunctioning and our what we call the we got corrupt DNA and like
the dogma.
Yeah, we got to come together and do things to. Who doesn't want an environment that is beautiful and peaceful and caring and everyone is able to get along, and like that's what we want. So why don't we build it? It's really, we've done it on Tamaray, and we've done it on other communities, and that's what it's about now. That's why I'm doing the 100% project, and it's about those who don't, because we have so many people that we can talk all day long, and it's like some people give it the big talk that, oh, I keep saying we need to come together, we need to come together. People are like, come together and do what? The minute I'm like, all right, time for us to build, come together. In fact, I'm teaching a class Saturday that is called Let's Build, because that's the focus. It's like build a place for everyone who wants to live that life and not just talk it, you know, because you can actually practice your culture. And so, yeah, that's what it's about. And getting the master teacher out, because the more of us that are on the right vibration and the right frequency, the easier the work becomes, because many hands make light work. All right.
Exactly. I definitely follow that. I definitely follow that. And just want to give you your flowers to tell my boy King everything's looking great. The updates, the channels, the new graphics, and all of that. It's been a pleasure to see. And for all those listening that watch all the other different YouTube channels of consciousness, just start dropping OSM Vision in the comments. Like it made me feel I was riding on such a high second, because I didn't know that the actual day that we did the interview on the 26th was the birthday and all of that stuff.
Yeah,
and
that was
over
really,
time.
yeah.
I still explore different things in the conscious community, but one of the things that I've been seeing is like it's amazing how some of these YouTube channels that just collect TikToks got 500 subscribers, 600,000 subscribers, and what I started doing is the ones that I watch, I started dropping check out OSM Vision, and for the first time the day before yesterday, man, it was loaded with the master teacher's teachings. I'm talking about like,
and that's what that's a simple something you decided to do, and we say all the time, repurpose the videos, share them, like drop OSM Vision in the comments, like tell people what the effects of Wu-Sabat have had on your life. That these are things that are free, but when we come to, as I said, doing and moving together, you can say to people, like, it's just hitting the button, and you can see who does it and who doesn't do it, So if we,
and that's
just
another
do
thing
that,
that's part of the program, was against some people, depending on how enshrined you are in social media and how much shadow work you've been doing. That's what some people do. They just get in the habit of scroll, and then your thought process is trained to only think for 30 seconds or 15 seconds per clip. So I just think it's important for, especially for us, the people that's calling in, is just to share, because a lot of people who don't do the actual research still get the watered down version of who Dr. who Baba really is. They get like the internet version.
That's right.
And if you only typing in the videos that first pop up, it's meant to confuse you, because they gonna show you the first 3 videos, them talking Christian, Arabic, and something else, and that's by design. That's meant to confuse you. So I think that the more testimonies that we get, and the more people that we, because the Telegram group and the way you all are communicating, the way you can research, I mean, it's self-explanatory. It's like, what more else do you need to see? What more proof? I think that on the outside, for the people who trying to come in, I think that because they haven't actually went to the Sabian website or looked at the books or actually looked at the
you're right.
time that he wrote the books, like, bro, this stuff is literally at this point, a lot of this stuff is like 50 years old, and I'm starting to discover like 50 years old, 40 years old. So you got people who, like how you say, y'all been following them all this time, like, not to say that it's discredited or it doesn't mean nothing. It's just that it's so, been addressed by the master teacher, so it's like learn it, explore it. But
Johnny just come lately, and like you say, it's about we encourage people to go to the stores, talk to people, because like you say, like social media and the internet can have information that is distorted or outdated or so old. So you have to definitely don't rely on the algorithm, kind of mix with actual real people. Go to the stores, because you get the updates. And the thing is, when you've been walking with a master for so long, you can put the pieces together for someone. Someone might be like, listen to something, as you say, the Arabic pops up, or dealing with something that he was teaching like 20 years ago, 30, 40, 50 years ago. And yeah, and then we're like, okay, now that's outdated. So you have to be able to connect the dots between the old information and the current information, and you're not going to know that how to do that if you haven't been.
Parcherax, the way it, like, now that I've been enshrining myself more into it, I see that he laid this all out
Right.
the way he did for a reason.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, my brother, I've got to get through some more questions, but as usual, pleasure. I appreciate, love your call. But yeah, everyone who's listening, follow his example. Drop OSM Vision in the different social media groups and like, share, subscribe. Help us to help you to help us. All right, let's get back to the question. Wadu Zaman? It's gone, yeah? Okay. Breeze from Power OSM. I will definitely do that. It's been another voicemail.
No, I said you got a lot.
Yeah, I've got to try and run through these now. Do that. It's been in the back of my mind for years. Absolutely. Thornton Mellon. What is the diet of a member of Wu-Sabat? Again, this is a member of Wu-Sabat. We don't know what everyone is doing in their houses and like what diets they're following. Like we get guidelines. A master teacher tells us this is what you should eat. Oh, we got a call. All right, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what's your question, please? It sounds like the previous call. That's the old call. Yeah, did you cut it off?
He must be watching the video. He doesn't know that he's on.
All right, caller, are you there?
We've got another one.
Okay. Go ahead, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's your question, please? Okay, I think we've lost him or her. Okay, so Thornton Mellon, I'm just saying the diet is a guideline and
a member of Wu-Sabat. We don't know.
say someone on the call because I'm hearing the delay in the playback.
This is what you should eat.
But this.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, Rahubat. Please, can you turn the volume down on the recording or mute it?
Okay, I'm turning it down now.
All right, yeah, we're just getting the echo. That's why. All right, Rahubat Zamal Tap.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Tua, I can. Rahubat Zamal Tap, you there? All right, we're going to come back to your call if you call back because we've lost you. But yeah, the diet of a member of Wu-Sabat is really no blood meat, no meat or anything with parents. Avoid things that are processed. So that would be a lot of white stuff, white flour, white sugar, white rice, etc., etc. In fact, rice itself, because it's starchy, the starch becomes glucose. Sugar and salt are one of the worst addictions that people have. And lots of water, green fruits, veg for both male and female, but more so for the female. Red things for the male, beetroot, because that it has a high concentration of nitric oxide. These are guidelines, you know. We're not going to dictate what people eat. Seafood, or for those who are transitioning from not eating any flesh or anything with blood, you can eat. Again, like, there are variations, and people who can't do the ultimate, which is be a vegan is the top, a vegetarian is next, and then it goes lower in terms of the health benefits. But the master teacher doesn't dictate what people eat. He teaches. Is that another call? It teaches. He teaches us and gives us guidelines, and we make the decisions. If you want to clean yourself inside out, you follow it to the best of your ability, and so forth. Yeah, so it's very vague to say what is the diet of a member of Wu-Sabat, because Wu-Sabat is consistent of many different people with different diets, from the best, in terms of the best is still you eating the worst or the best of the worst that is available to you. Because unless you're really like gonna have your own land, your own soil, your own seeds, and in the right conditions to grow your own food, etc., you're gonna be subjected to something that, you know, it's not gonna be completely best for you. And this is why you also have to balance it out with the health, in terms of the cleansing, in terms of, you know, the fasting and the rituals and the things that we do to maintain as much optimal health as possible. All right, you have to use right knowledge, right wisdom, and understanding when it comes to that. Bruce Canoy's question: if Anu was the highest of Els and Allah, and Allah was only an Elo of Elohim, then it is correct to say that Muslims pray to Allah, who is not even regarded as the Most High, according to the Sumerian doctrine. So it's the same person. It's just that the person the Muslims are referring to Allah, and again, depending on how you're breaking down the words, right, is that being Anu. That's who the Muslims are calling Allah. That's who in religion and in Christianity you're dealing with El, or Ilion El, which is the Most High, which is really Anu. And then you have an Elo, would be the singular of a group of Elohim that is in charge, and then you'll have, that will be like Enki or Enlil, and then you'll have the group of beings that they're on one side or the other. So the Els, those, and when we say the Els, that's the names that are ending with Els. Those would be those who supported Enlil, right? So you have like Daniel, you know, all the words that end in Raphael. These words ending with El will be those who were paying allegiance to Enlil. And then the ones who end with the way, like the Yahweh, or, you know, the those would be the ones that were loyal to Enki. All right, so Gilbert, thank you so much for your donation. Much love to you. All right, we just want to give you thanks for your donation. You didn't ask a question, but want to acknowledge you. All right. Every little helps, you know. Every little helps. In fact, you know, if most of us and more of us just did a little bit, we will get things done so quickly. So don't think, you know, if I get 1 million people to give us £1, we're millionaires. So, you know, it's that easy. But of course, people don't see it that way, because they may think their little help is insignificant. Just sharing and talking about Pana Babianun, letting others know about him, is help. It goes a long way. Okay, so so Anu is this is where we explain that the Bible, the Quran, the monotheistic religions are Abrahamic religions, and Abrahamic religions are tying into Sumeria, the Sumerian doctrine, where they get the doctrine of the monotheistic religions from. So so that the Most High is Anu, but in religion, in Islam, in Christianity, in Judaism, they just use different names for that same being. All right, Pharaoh, Halo, Rahubat, it's Curtis. Okay, my question, it's Curtis. Rahubat Jamal, my question is let me just read that one. Zamal, is it in our natural nature as men to lust after women? Is it natural equals a biological program? Because every time I'm trying to be good, women tend to chase. It's not natural to lust. It's natural to have an attraction to women because you come from a woman, so you're attracted to her naturally. Like, this is why women are the nurturers. They breastfeed, and they've breastfed everyone on the planet, those who breastfed until the introduction of, you know, like milk that is not from the mother, etc. But it's the lust element is where the problem is, because that's when you're now not in control. And luster, when you research the word lust and luster, it deals with things that are shining and glittery, lights. This is how, you know, the quote unquote devil is able to attract people by the shining and the glitter, where the term not everything that glitters is gold. Because light, when you really go into it, light came from darkness, because they tell you in the Bible, God said, let there be light. So the state of peace and tranquility and peace is in darkness. That's why till this day, you turn off all the lights to be in a peaceful state when you go to sleep. And the child is grown in the womb in darkness, right? You have levels of darkness. And so the light is a way to distract you and to create chaos. Because if you have a baby, where a baby is not aware of the value of, let's say, money, right? If you put a $50 or $100 or £20 note, which is made out of paper, in front of a baby, and you put a really shiny gold coin, in the UK we will say a pound, the baby will draw and be attracted to the shiny, glittery pound coin, even though that's only worth £1 compared to, say, the £20. That's to show you how the glitter and the glamour is what attracts people. The bright city lights, people being promised fame and fortune in the cities, because the cities were where you would mostly get jobs. And it goes all the way into the stars, to becoming a star, because a star is light when you look at stars, right? And stars are born out of darkness. So this star becoming a Hollywood star or an entertainment star to get your star on the Walk of Fame in Hollywood is a distraction, a trap, because when you start looking at stars and six ether, the six-pointed star and the five-pointed star, this is how people get bamboozled or get distracted from their purpose, and they chase what should be what we would call a hobby, and they make it into what they think is a career. But it never lasts, because you can only do it up until a certain point. But of course, the monetary aspect is what you're attracted to. So you're offered money to what? Sell your real soul for material and riches. And then the Bible and the Quran and these religious books says, what profits a man to gain the whole world but to lose their soul? You see, so that's a deep question. But yeah, so the luster and the lust is how people get, they get distracted and then taken off the path of being right. Okay, cool. Right, let's move on to the next one. Yeah, I hope you are watching and you're telling us where you're watching from and sharing, and we want to know how we're reaching the world. You know, Wu-Sabat to the world. All right, let's go on. All right, this is going to be, you heard of speed dating, right? This is going to be speed answering questions. Dolores Kanu, I think her name is, she does hypnosis for USA Army, I believe. All right, that's just adding to what I was saying about hypnotic regression. Check her out. Mark, yeah, we always encourage people to do research, study other people and learn, but address the questions you have for what they're teaching or promoting to them, because we do the same for what we teach. So let other people be held accountable for what they teach. Okay, first NTR. My question, if terrestrial means pertaining to Earth, then surely extraterrestrial means more Earth, not more Earth outer space. I see the logic in terms of, but you're looking at it the other way around. I hear what you're saying in terms of more terrain or more, but no, it's the word extra in this case is saying it's from somewhere else or extra to this plane. But it's a good point, but that's not what it means when you break down the words. Yeah. Yeah, it's something extra to here that's not from here. That's what we mean, as in it's not from here. Let's keep going. Okay, let's keep going. Thornton Mellon. What is the difference between Ansar, Allah, Nubian, Islamic Hebrew, Nuwapu, Wu-Sabat, and right knowledge? Are they the same or different? Okay, they're different but connected. So we went through different schools when we were being taught the school of religion or Abrahaminism, and then during those schools, for example, when we had communities, and so Ansar Allah was the name that was given to the community when we were going through the school that you might refer to as Islam. But at the same time, we changed names as we were progressing. So, and you have to also break down the words individually as what they mean, right? So Nubian Islamic Hebrew was, again, that name, right? You can see the word Nubian because we always, even though we were practicing Islam, we were practicing a version of Islam that tied us back to Nubia, to the Sudan, to the Mahdi, so those words were always going to be tying us back to who we really are as Nubians, or really Nubons, but the term most people got familiar with was Nubian, right? So we were still saying that Islamic Hebrew, because the Hebrew, again, we were walking backwards. Nuwapu is the science of sound right reasoning, okay? And Wu-Sabat is like now where we are, because you have in Nuwapu, you have different stages as well, like Asanupu, Nabanupu, and Wu-Nuwapu, okay? Which is the science. Wu-Sabat is the actual culture that puts everything together. And when you say right knowledge is because you have wrong knowledge and you have right knowledge. And we teach right knowledge. Okay, so because of time, I'm trying to go through them quickly, but yeah, they're different, but they relate because we walked through the schools of religion and then came back to our culture of Wu-Sabat. All right, Old Man Torg. I would like to know why these ancients from everyone's beliefs does not walk among us today. What happened to them, or is there any written word about why they no longer here in the open? When you say these ancients, yeah, you said I'd like to know why these ancients. I don't know which ancients you're referring to, but if you're talking about our ancestors, it's because they've evolved, that we are evolving, and they've moved on to different, and they still do walk amongst us. We are their children, we are them, and depends who you're talking about, but I'm just going by what you've said. You just said ancients. You have beings that are walking amongst us, camouflaging, etc., shape-shifting, and they are here, but they are here in the open. You just got to be able to know and recognize them. All right, let's keep going. DB, Rahubat, how do we protect ourselves from CRISPR and Cas9? What's Dr. York's scroll prevention on gene tampering for good or bad? We protect ourselves by being in Wu-Sabat and practicing our culture, and that's how you're protected. But obviously, there are many scrolls that go into that and the rituals and things that we do. But that's also part of the reason why we need to come together and work together in communities, because you're easy pickings when you have no backative, as we like to say. Like, you have no one to kind of like work with you. So yeah, it's about being in unity with those of like mind and working together. All right. Okay, I'm gonna try and speed through these as much as I can. And again, working together, and how do you do that? If you would like to know more, then again, we keep expressing that you should come closer, go to your nearest bookstores, interact, and I'm posting the link in the chat again about the project that we're working on to come together. All right. Right, let's go. Where were we? Okay, next one. What is a very hard school? Oh, sorry, Earth is a very hard school. It's only hard if you don't study and know what to do. You know, it's like your exam is only hard if you don't know and haven't studied and, you know, prepared, so that the questions come and you're just like, oh, I know that, and it's going to be smooth. But if you haven't studied and prepared, then you're going to be scratching your head at every question. So the exam will seem to be hard. Okay, those without a soul do not have to go through life lessons like those with a soul. Yeah, it's a bit more of a challenge, because, you know, the beings that want the soul make sure they do everything to get it. And that comes by way of challenges for you, because you get tempted in all kinds of ways to give it up. Sure will do, thank you. You can't escape reincarnation. Yes, you can. We didn't actually, this is from Josie B. We didn't, sometimes people will just make a statement like, you can't escape reincarnation, but it's like, okay, obviously we're in a time, but where's the evidence? Where's the proof? Where that's coming from, basically? You can. We never used to reincarnate over and over again. We used to come, do what we had to do and go and never come back. But obviously over time, we've now degraded ourselves to the point where we do need to, in order to learn what we need to learn, to, because the soul, right, is apart from those that were between 1973 and 2003, they're new souls, but the others are quite old souls, because you have to come over and learn. And yeah, so let me carry on. Lady Loneliness. Rahubat, I have heard so many different explanations on twin flames and soul ties and soulmates. What is Wu-Sabat explanation on this? We have a part to write called Soulmate, so I'm not going to dwell too much on that. That goes into it. Soulmates are born and they're linked, but in finding each other is the issue. But it's not like you go and look for. Well, I suppose you do if you don't know each other, but the part of that soulmates goes into that, because we're literally running out of time, so I'm going to go through as many questions as I can. Marcia Marquise, everything is with which we have not been taught. Eating well, fasting, meditation will bring knowledge. Ask and you will find. Be still and listen to yourself. Yeah, it starts with the spirit within, because you're connected to your ancestors, and you have to learn how to silence the voices of those that are distracting and distorting things for you, so you can listen out for your voice, which will guide you to the right path. Yep, you need to be the master of your soul, because your soul is the one thing that you have that they can't take unless you give it away by ignorance or willingly. Okay. What's next? True talk. Amanda Washington. I never desired to identify as an African because I know that the landmass was Alkebulan and it was changed to Africa by an invader named Scipio Africanus. That's just one part of the story. The original land was called Ganawa. That's what it was called. Alkebulan is again one of these terms that we have been led to think it's original, but it's, if you study the word, it's not, and it's also a mixture. There are many, many words that have been used for the planet and for the people called Africa, and we were known as Nuwapians, to be honest. But again, that's why we're going back full circles to being Nuwapians. All right, let's keep going. You have to break the words down as well. What does it mean? Great answer for the present and future. The generator versus the regurgitator. Thank you. That's from DB as well. True talk. Ashe. Michael, marvelous motivation. I'm a Christian, just like what Doc was teaching when he was locked up. On the tape, he said he was cool with Egypt, but Jesus came to him and said, get it together, 96. Yeah, that's old information. And yeah, during that time when we were teaching, but the thing is, when you say I'm a Christian, that word is not what we use. He used the word karast, okay? Not Christian. But of course, when you're explaining things to people that are in Christianity or in Christian, and they're using the word Christian, you use terms that people are familiar with. But the word we use was karast, and the word Christian was coined up because, you know, they were talking about someone that was anointed, known as a Messiah, right? That's what the word anointed means, or the word Messiah means anointed. And then they said, we have found a Messiah who's been interpreted the Christ, okay? So that was, again, 96, we're in 2025, and we've now moved on from that. When you say which Jesus, we're talking about, there are different types of Jesus. People don't know that. It was like our Jesus, or the person you're calling Jesus is Hara from, you know, ancient Egypt, which is why everybody ties into Egypt and in the monotheistic religion. So the word is karast, or not really Christian, all right? So you need to come up to date and become a part of Wu-Sabat. Be a Sabian or Nuwapian, all right? Again, one more time, if you don't mind helping us by answering, where are you in the world right now? Like, where are you from? The Caribbean, USA, Africa, Asia, where are you chiming in from? Okay, let's see if we've got more questions.
Regarding soulmates,
Yep.
Mira just said, aren't soulmates based on astrology?
No, they're not. They're not, because astrology is just something that was coined. So you have astronomy and astrology, which is really looking at and dealing with the motions of the stars and the sun, etc., coming really from our ancient science, with the Dendera dealing with the energies of certain alignments and things like that, dealing with solar biology, which became lunar astronomy, okay? But astrology is the study of the planetary bodies and the stars and so forth and so forth. So it's really, you want to study solar biology. Solar related to the sun, biology related to the biochemistry of how it affects your being. Marceliana Williams, this seems like Jehovah Witness all over again. Purchase all the books. No, listen, nothing like Jehovah's Witness. It doesn't even make, the title doesn't even make sense. There's no such word as Jehovah for a start. There's no J's or V's in Hebrews. And how can somebody be a witness for Jehovah? To be a witness meaning that you watch a crime and you're a witness. You can't be a witness for Jehovah, all right? And it's not about purchasing the books. You don't have to purchase any books at all. It's up to you. Like, If you don't want to study, don't study. If you don't want to buy books or read the books, don't. You know, it's up to you. But those who are reading know the benefits. We could, if we had the opportunity to be in a position which the master used to do, which is be economically sound and have so many books printed that we could literally give them away for free. But it still cost money, and it cost to get paper, to get the ink, to print, to bind, to distribute, to market, to get the information out. The knowledge is free, but the resources, the amount of times we have had to say this, you wouldn't go to, I was going to give a name, but you couldn't go to any bookstores and just get the books for free, you know. So people always say that, but we give out, I think we give out more free knowledge than anyone else we know, because we do these lives every week for free. We have classes every week for free, all across the world in different stores and different places for free. And I've been doing that for over 50 years. So it's not about the books. The books are there for your records, for your library, for your, legacy, so you can pass it on. And if you don't publish and author books, then you don't have the authority on the information that's being pushed to you. So somebody has to have records, or else you're just going to read the Bible and the Quran, which somebody else is producing, distorting the truth and giving you lies and entrapping you in 6 ether forces. So it's your choice. Liberate yourself through right knowledge, right wisdom, and right understanding, or stay reading the book of the dead books, dead people that don't help you to elevate. All right. So yeah, nothing like Jehovah's Witness at all. Why don't the entities from Risk want to help us? They are helping us. The being that is giving us this guidance and information is from Risk. And you, as children of the ancestors from Risk, we're helping now by doing what we do. And you should be helping by studying, reading, and teaching, and sharing the knowledge as well. That's to Marceliana Williams. Marcia Marcus again. If we let go and let the spirit would take control, you will feel like you are taking something when you have, and the spirit will speak. Drums do help, your eyes will open. Okay, that's not a question. I am a herbalist in Maryland. Great. Bible Book of the Dead. We need to raise our vibrations. So why don't Dr. York just make all of it available? It seems like a club. Make all of what available? It's making as much information as available on the planet than anyone else, covering every single subject you can think of. So when you say, why don't Dr. York make it all available? It is all available, but it's down to you which parts you actually, if you understand the logistics of publishing and printing a book, you can't print, how many people on the planet? Some 8 billion people. Do you have any idea how much it will cost to print 8 billion books? Or even 7 billion, or even 1 billion? And that's one title. When you're looking at over 1,000 titles, you do the maths. But yet people don't want to help us to be able to reach more people in the world and give out this information for free, as we do by way of our teachings and classes. Okay. Now, again, I don't take, someone said I'm not talking bad about this, just concerns. Okay, I don't know what that's about. USA will not teach language anymore. 1987 was the last year. If some of us come together as one natural rhythm, for those who want to come together and work together and get things done, I've posted the link for my project, our project. Let me see if there are any other questions. If some of us come together as one, this is Marcy again, as one natural rhythm, we'll do that. Stop trying to control, let go, energy will flow. We're always trying to control everything. We are not the one that is in control. I don't know who's trying to control everything. That's again very broad and very vague. You can only control yourself, to be honest. You choose and decide what decisions you make to put yourself in whatever position or predicament you find yourself. Okay, Brother, what above the woman energy? What above the women energy? Yeah, I mean, that's something that gets neglected a lot. The women's energy is double in terms of three times more than the men, because they have the mitochondrial DNA, the XX chromosomes, which the male has a defective Y. And so this doctrine is really for the females, or the sacred feminine. And the more of you wake up and start to kind of take your rightful place, the better off we are, because you are the future and this doctrine is yours. But we're supposed to work together, left and right brain, and working together to, like the master put it like this: men in front, the rabbis, the ministers, the preachers, the presidents, the prime ministers, the deacons, the popes. They have been responsible as men. We have been responsible for the conditions and the states that we find ourselves. Now is the woman's turn to show us how it's done. And he put it like, you can't box with one hand tied behind your back, meaning male and female, both hands, both brains, have to work together in unison to achieve more. Whereas in the past, the women have been suppressed. And religion does the worst job in giving women that power to be who they really are, because it's like, walk behind, stay behind, cover yourself up. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't lead the congregation, etc., etc. So Wu-Sabat liberates the sacred feminine and the women who choose to apply it in their lives. All right. Are they responding to chat? I am 55, left the program at 26. I knew something was wrong. I could step foot in the church. I think that's couldn't step foot in the church. Okay, keep going. How does one find their soul? Okay, we covered that. I want to know how plasma energy and radio waves work. Again, we don't have that much time, but it's dealing with vibrations and frequency. Okay, let me explain this vibration and frequency thing a little bit more. So when something is vibrating at a particular resonance, it's in tune with others on the same resonance. And what that literally means is that you become that which that is. So another way of putting it, if you're water and you're in water, you become one. If you're fire and you're with fire, fire becomes one. So when we vibrate on a particular frequency, we then connect with everyone that is on that frequency. This is why we're mind linked. And there's a master's secret called mind linked. But again, we're running out of time, so you're going to have to seek out some of these actual facts. If you're not in the Telegram group already, as we're coming to the last 5 minutes and we're risking not being able to perhaps answer all the questions, then what you need to do is join the Telegram group. The link will be in the chat, and you can continue to ask your questions 24/7. Anytime you have a question, as you're studying, as you're learning more, or you might jump out of your sleep with a great question, put it in the Telegram chat and we will answer it. All right, let's keep going. I like that United Swindle States. Yeah. I am a need to know person, right? Yeah, exactly. To know, the first part of the word knowledge is to know. That's what knowledge is. But if it's been distorted and you're given wrong knowledge, you may think that's correct, but it's actually not useful knowledge. It's not right knowledge. So to know is to research, to check things out for yourself, to confirm it for yourself, and then you know. Once you know something, no one can tell you any different. But you have to verify and really put it to the test in terms of the evidence, reason, and experience to see if it's sound, right reasoning, okay? I know that some everyone do not understand. Let's get one with questions we have not heard. Yeah, not everybody understands. Some people overstand, you see. So to be under something means you're not over it. So some people understand, some people overstand, some people know, some people don't know, some people don't know, they don't know. So we're here to clear it all up by way of Wu-Sabat, as given to us and taught to us by Partner Babianu Dr. Malachi Z.K. York. Okay, let's keep going. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught a lot of the same information regarding the origins of white race. There's no such thing as a white race, and what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was teaching, a lot of it was incorrect information because he didn't know the language and he didn't have all the information. So he taught some information, good information, but he couldn't take it all the way because he didn't have the language, and what he taught was to lead you up onto the master teacher, one who comes along to make those lessons even clearer than the ones that he taught, you know. So when he's talking about Yaqub, and he was talking about the mother plane and talking about certain things that the master teacher upon the Babyanun has come along to clarify even more. He put the lessons back together in their, you know, the pristine order. And there's something, if I have time, I'm trying to find to read for you, that actually deals with what your question is referring to. All right, I'm gonna see if I can. It's quite short, so if I can find it quickly, I will read it. Because in fact, it's from the I think it's from the book called The Proverbs of Yanun. So if you don't have that, see if you can get hold of that. Oh, here we go. I found it. I'm going to read from. If I get the book wrong, you have to check it. But from 169, it says, and that is exactly what I started doing from 1962 to 1963 AD. Then I opened the 7 seals in the year 1970 AD, just as the messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, predicted to his followers. 170, I am the one with the book of Lamb, or Lamb, and the new Arabic dressed in white as he predicted. 171, I will bring the lost found blacks onto the hereafter from 2000 AD, the year that the dominion of the Adamites race since 6,000 years ended. All right. 172. I am that black savior they called Messiah, which the white race has feared coming all these Shamut years. 173. Now I am finally here with your salvation, with healing in my wings. Accept this gift from your Salafu ancestors. 174. This is your last chance. Michael, Malachi is here. 175. The last 6,000 years from Tammuz, the 6th, 3761 BCE, was the last of the 4, making it the end of planet Earth's quarantine of 24,000 years, which begins the next 24,000 year cycle as the race of devils will be removed off the planet in our own good time. They are fading from 2000 AD to 2030 AD to 2060 AD, end of their tapal world. 176, and from 2000 AD, which is 6000 AC, yeah, which is AC's or Adam's calendar, you are now writing the next 24,000 years, our story. 177, first things first, I must break the Hajar Shalel, the Takul, the spell of ignorance that you are under, and regrow your Barathri Ghatat gland in your submental under your chin. All right, so that's a quick to tie in with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad questions. Okay, Ashe, we need to come together. Absolutely. I've posted a link for those who want to come together and join the Telegram group so we can continue to build. Thanks for the update. Always a pleasure. As usual, we give a shuk to you all. coming to see you in London. All right. Many people say it, we don't see them, but we look forward to seeing you, Marcia. I am here. Music World creates music. Okay. All right. I think we
need 2 more likes to get 100.
We need 2 more likes to get 100. Now, let's see some of you show us some love. I shook divine love and give us 2 more likes and we will be there. Okay? All right. Gilbert, thank you again for your donation. I appreciate love. Question, Albert Pike letter to Mazzini, how does that affect us? All right. Grab hold of the book called History, right? Which goes into all Albert Pike and all of that. But you know, Albert Pike is the father of the Euro-Masonry and how they distorted the original ancient Egyptian Masonic teachings. All right, so that's Albert Pike and those guys. There's an actual fact called History. Of course, we're running out of time. We literally have just a few minutes left. Okay, cool.
101 likes.
101 likes. Great. Thank you. Tawukum. Thank you all. The truth is the truth. Give thanks. That's right. That's one thing that the truth does not do. It doesn't associate or has any association with anything else but itself. That's why you can't falter truth, because truth is truth. If it doesn't matter if you're green, purple, yellow, black, white, Christian, Muslim, Jew, if you teach the truth and we know is the truth, we will say that's true. Truth is truth. All right, keep up with the youth and how they communicate. Like, okay, I don't get that. I don't get that. Author to control or energy. It's the less of us that will be seen as the Most High. People will be making statements, but like, okay, where does that come from? If that's just from you, a figment of your imagination, and that's what you think, that's your opinion. You know, we respect everyone's opinion, but we want to stay on actual facts and evidence-based, you know. Every time a man sleeps with someone, they are giving away their energy. Claim it for yourself, young man. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Read Genetic Kiss, and it goes into the whole bodily fluids exchange. My name is Emmanuel Kadamawi. I am a Jamaica Rasta man. We love to say Jah and Rastafari. Is it good for us? Not really in terms of the tones and vibrations, because Jah is Yah really in the Yah as in Jehovah, Jah, which is the tones going back to, as we say, these Anunnaki, Enlil and Enki. Rastafari, of course, is a name that ties in and, you know, goes back to Haile Selassie, etc. But it's not that the names we use and the tones we use. Oh, we've gone over by 5 minutes already. I didn't realize. But it's upgrade the tones to the ones that are going to be most impactful and useful for you. All right, I'm gonna wrap up there because we've run out of time. But remember, like, share, subscribe, and sign up to OSM Vision and the Telegram group. I'll be teaching this Saturday. We encourage everyone to join via Zoom if you're international or locally, physically. All right, so until next time, same place, same time. OSM Vision is the channel, all right? Our souls matter. Wadu.
Proper black history. You won't get it nowhere else at all.
Islam is a beautiful religion for the Muslims. Christianity is a beautiful religion for the Christians. As Sabaeans, we have our own culture, our own scriptures, our own way of life, which is Wu-Sabat.
Naut Mugdad Badek Patah, Naut Mukhlas Badek Yam.
Wu-Sabat is not a religion, it predates religion. So we don't really subscribe to like the monotheistic religions. And even when you get to Africa, you know, people might talk about Egypt or Kemet or these various names, but our ancestors, they actually go back to the stars from the Orion and Sirius constellation.
In the Bible, Genesis, Adam and Eve,
Yeah.
what color were they?
He was a Hindu. Adam was from Atum and Lilith. Those were his parents. We've got their pictures in our scrolls as well. So how do we get pictures? As 9 ether beings, we can travel to different times. We can go backwards in time and forward in time. We can go into different dimensions. We can be channeled. I have watched many false teachers pass. I have watched churches who has come not to change the books, but to untangle and straighten and put them in an order that can be read and understood by any and all. No one in the heavens above or below the earth or under earth has the ability to make all of the true untampered scriptures, which are the words of the Most High, so clear. For I do not speak from myself, but the words flow through me from the very lips and hearts of those mentioned in the pamphlets I put forth. Read the scrolls. Don't reject me. Don't deny me. Don't slander me. I am your savior. Come and follow me. Brother at the back, did you have a question?
Yeah.
Sure.
You see how it says our savior is here?
Yeah.
Who's our? Is it just black people?
No, not at all. Our, because every race has been sent their own warner. For us, as black people, if you want to use that word, we're not even black, but we know what you mean but when we use that word. So yes, he sent to us, just like every other race was sent their warner, but these beings, they have a message for the entire world because what they teach is for humanity.
That's what wu-nuwapu is about. Sound, right, reasoning. Nothing else. All we wanted the facts. We've accepted the faith. We had faith in Allah. We had faith in Christ. We had all the faiths we had bags of faith. We had our foot on the radio. We had our knees and forehead on the ground. I mean, we reached out for God, every which way. As a people of color, we reached for God in everything from, I seen brothers as high Christians with little ball and knots. We tried everything. Now we're saying we want to ask questions. We want nothing but facts.
In order for the information to turn into knowledge, what has to take place? We talked about reasonability. Without reasonability, you can't transfer or transform the information into knowledge. It is through sound right reasoning how you take information and turn it into knowledge.
And one of the famous things that people who are familiar with him will know, he always said, don't believe me, check it out.
Don't believe me. Check it out.
Says stuff, he can't prove it. Everything I say, I prove. That's what makes me different. They talk about stuff they can't prove.
The man that has made it possible for the Nuwabian nation to be established throughout the world. He has touched many hearts and has opened many minds to the truth. So without further ado, here's Dr. Malachi Z. York.
They're going to know who I am. They're going to realize by this book who I really am.
What woke you up to the New World Order, these globalist elites and eugenicists?
The main thing that woke me up to it was a writer named Dr. York, a spiritual teacher from Brooklyn. He had a whole community over in Bushwick, on Bushwick Avenue, called the Answer Allah community. Like real heavy into like just studying the origins of religions, of cultures, politics, the origins of everything. And that's how you really get to the bottom of things, when you study the origins of it. So that's what I learned reading his books, and it all came from him.
A series of books he puts out are called Actual Facts or The Master's Secrets. But we've also got our own way of life for the culture, which is known as Partarak.
Master Teacher's written various amount of books on extraterrestrials. He's got an extraterrestrial. So this would be crash retrieval. This is a crash retrieval in New Mexico. The different descriptions of the Greys, Draconians, Maccabeans, beings from Benetrak, the Roswell incident, autopsy of the extraterrestrial, the Tyros, cone heads. So they come from the Gemini star constellation.
Now the Tyros, who people know as the cone-shaped heads, right? They have 48 chromosomes. And because the human being, or humans, have 46 chromosomes, that's 23 from your mother and 23 from your father, giving you 46. When they mixed with the humans, they produced a being with 47 chromosomes, which basically resulted in what people call Down syndrome. And that's why no matter what race you are, if you have those 47 chromosomes or Down syndrome, then you're going to have the same features regardless of whether you're black, white, Chinese, etc.
So you've got other descriptions here, the Duanes as well.
These are the short porcupine looking types of beings because their hair sticks out. They're quite, this is what people get like the story of dwarfs and things like that from. They're very intelligent and they study Shakespeare. And so when you start to look at the ailments that people have who have mixed with them, they suffer from something called hirsutism, which is when you have hair all over your body. And this is because of the mixture with these Duanis. And the same as what we call the Deros. The Deros are like very obese, fat looking with like an elephant trunk. And you get a lot of people on the planet who are obese in terms of they weigh so much. And it's because no matter how much diets they go on or how much exercise they do, they can't get rid of the weight. That's because, again, they've been mixed with these beings called the Deros. And most of these beings were residing, some have left, but a lot of them are and were residing in the caverns in the earth.
Also dealing with like the webs in the hands. It shows you like the 3 stages from the sperm, which would be similar to the tadpole. Then you have the second stage, which would be when you do the scan of the baby, which would be like 3 to 4 weeks, which would be like that of a Ramadian form of grey. And then the full stage would be where you would be Homo sapien, which would be mammal and reptilian. Most of these extraterrestrials also live in the centre of the earth. You've got the knuckles here. These are skulls that they found. Because a lot of people think that we're making these up, but yeah, this is information that scientists are backing up, archaeologists are backing up. I was doing shopping in Peckham, so I had this inner thought that said to me, yeah, go into the indoor market. So I went in there and met 2 brothers and they started talking about the master teacher's information. By the time I thought black religion or black Christianity, kind of not interested in it, but I bought a video, Roswell video. So I went home, watched that, and then my oldest brother came about 3 days later with one of Malachi's videos called Elohim, and he's talking about us being God's ancient Egypt, how we'd be misinformed. So yeah, from then I got hooked up on it, yeah. He was always saying that, just use the information as like, don't get hooked up on it, but yeah, got hooked up on it, man. Remember back in the days they used to have these Shambhala bracelets. They were called crystals or made out of crystals. So this will be tying into these. See Shambhala. Crystal City. Another extraterrestrial. This person here. Visit the White House so people can do some research on Valiant 4. We see the master teacher's already written about him.
My name's Basta Nafartat Ka'anku and I manage the Nashat store here in Croydon. I heard about Wu-Sabat or Nuwapians about 30 plus years ago. I was visiting a friend, we were just laughing and joking, and then I could hear a voice in the background. He had a videotape of the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Ziyad.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu. Ashhadu anna kullu rasul rasulullah. I bear witness to Allah alone and He has no partners. And I bear witness to all the apostles that come from Allah.
Being a follower of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad through his National Representative Louis Farrakhan, I would just like to know is the dress code of bow tie and suits, is that in any way an abomination of Allah's will compared to the Ansaru? community with white garb.